Never people that text me go, how big is that compared to my TV? Like, 'cause it's one of those things where you don't realize how big it is until you like see it in paper. Oh yeah, it's a 6.5 by 11.5. Like, it's a big TV. It's not just a TV, that 85-inch TV you'd put in your living room. You know?
Hello and welcome to the Daktronics Experience podcast. I'm Justin Oxner here with Matt Anderson. Today we're at Iowa State University at Jack Trice Stadium, and we're going to talk to Tyler and Phil a little bit about all the new video displays and integration they have at their athletic facilities. Tyler, let's start with you and maybe give a quick background of your position and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, so Tyler Rutherford, and I'm in my 20th year here at Iowa State. So we just had our all-staff meeting back in August, and so I got to walk up in front of everybody and accept the 20-year years of service. So it's hard to believe it's been 20 years, gone really fast. But I was a student here. I actually started out playing baseball at UNI, and then we had somebody that did sports info that traveled with us. And when I was done playing baseball, I wanted to come here and thought, it'd be cool to get into sports. And so I've got in our communications department and kind of became a self-taught video person kind of when YouTube kind of came along. And when Jamie got hired as AD, he kind of gave me the opportunity to jump in and tackle our website with videos and streaming. And so now it's evolved into overseeing live video and broadcasts, and then our creative department. I still have our hand in our website and our digital presences, our OTT apps, and all of that stuff. But it's been a fun ride. Now we're a huge department of probably 75 to 80 full-timers, freelancers, and students. So, and Phil's part of that team. So, Phil, you want to?
Yeah, I'm Phil Manley, the director of game presentation. I kind of oversee our live production crews, as well as serve as one of the live producers, directors for a lot of our video board shows and some of our ESPN Plus shows. Originally from Omaha, kind of got my start back in 2008, was just cable pulling right behind a camera guy at the big arena downtown, and worked my way up through various control room positions there and got onto some production trucks, eventually graduated, got my first full-time position back in Omaha in 2015, and then stalked this job until something opened up in 2019, applied and got lucky enough. I'm now entering my 7th season here. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, but love it.
Yeah, so are you sending emails every day and asking if there's positions open, or you just...
It's a small group of people here that kind of are in the know in this market. And so I kind of told some people that, hey, we're looking to upgrade some staffing and equipment. And so I think some people talked and he got wind of it. And so he stalked this, and I kind of had his name kind of flagged as somebody in the area that was, it was a short list of people. I go, all right, if he applies, like we're gonna dive more into this. So
I was working a truck show down in Des Moines, and I overheard one of them going, "Yeah, Iowa State's gonna bring all their stuff in house and hire some producers, directors." So started keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, we've got a great team of people.
Yeah.
So I think there's 13 full timers.
Okay.
4 in production, but a lot of them are, Iowa people, or Iowa State grads, or grew up in the state of Iowa, or like Phil from Omaha, which is just a stone's throw away. So. Great team we built here.
Awesome. And then Tyler, maybe dive into a little bit more of like what your roles are now, because it's, I don't know, we were talking yesterday, right? You were the video guy when you first started here, and maybe there's a video in a couple different places, but now, I mean, you're handling video at multiple facilities and even some with broadcasting. Maybe just kind of talk a little bit about how responsibilities have grown, essentially.
It's crazy how much has evolved. I joke, I wake up in the morning and I think I have my day figured out, and then you wake up and you sit down and you look at your email and go, okay, this is going to be one of those days. And so it's just trafficking logistics, like I said, between live production and then content and then website and OTT. It's always a different gamut that I run day in and day out. So it's a large operation, a large budget. So just always dealing with people and challenges and things that come with running a huge P4 football or athletics operation. So,
okay. Yeah. And Phil, we'll throw it to you. See, is yours kind of similar? Is it a game day is way different than week of prep in between?
It's a little of everything. I mean, it's game day. It's just kind of an extension of it, right? Like our day-to-day is a lot of just checking it. It's people management, content management, right? We work with a lot of people in our department. It's a huge department, working with our marketing departments, our Learfield departments, and a lot of our day-to-day is making sure we're crewed for the week, right? And then getting scripts, running through, creating buttons, making sure all of our content works, doing stats tests. And game day is a little different. Sometimes it's more of just I'm actually probably more comfortable on a game day, right? Okay. Once you've got all your prep work done, I'm someone who reacts really well to the live. Like I'm happier on a game day being able to just, if you've got all your prep work done, you meet with your camera people, your graphics operators, and me and my assistant director, Justin, Austin Minahan, our engineer, and Jared Calvert, who's one of our other producer directors. Like we work really well together. And once you put the headset on, it honestly feels more laid back sometimes. Like you feel more comfortable.
I was going to ask kind of like what made you stay in this like area, this kind of this field or this career path? Is it kind of that? I don't know. Is there? I've heard it before from other people we've interviewed. Right? There's the adrenaline on a game day sometimes of everything going live, or kind of what made you want to stay in this career path?
I do. I like sports in general. I found that I just kind of excelled more in the production side of it. Once I started out cable pulling like a lot of us, right?
Yep.
You just follow someone around,
Just
making
grip.
sure they don't trip over it, right? Yep. And I got my first shot doing replay and loved it, right? It's learning equipment's tough, but if you know sports, you can really excel at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a blast just kind of live editing and doing it. And it's the thrill of reacting. Like, you can do all the prep work in the world, but if you know the industry enough and you know your sport, it's, I don't know, serving the fans in that way, it was just more fun.
Yeah.
I like also just the change. It's day to day can be really monotonous, but game day, it's different every time.
Yeah.
And it's different people sometimes every time that you've got on your headset and that your teams. It's just, I like the change.
Yeah, we thrive off chaos, I guess. I used to be an excitable guy kind of earlier in my career as we got into management, and now as we kind of built this team out, like it's kind of, we're comfortable in that space sometimes, especially now we've gone through some of these big projects and whatnot. We feel like we're kind of firing all cylinders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got to be with college though too, right? I mean, we're talking about game days in football right now, but it changes year round, right? Then you get into winter sports and spring sports. So I don't know if that kind of ties into you're not sure what you're going to do that day, but also it depends on the season and what sports are going on, kind of switch it up too.
Yeah, that's why we work well with each other, because I try to be the look ahead guy. So I mean, we got 5 events in a week. I try to be the guy that looks a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, a month down the line, just to try to see what problems are coming on the horizon, or if it's staffing issues, or if it's just how we're scheduled, or how do we need to adjust some things to try to get people some time off.
Yeah.
Just try to have my pulse and finger on what we're doing across the entire operation at all times.
Yeah. And you said looking ahead and kind of getting your preparation down. Maybe that ties into this multiple venue project of the tools you're actually using on game day to kind of, manipulate or help enhance that fan experience. So can you kind of give us a history of, we started with these displays and we decided we wanted to refresh multiple venues kind of in the same year and just do it all at once?
Yeah, we were talking a little about this the other day, but so we started this project, 4 years ago this past summer, where we sat down actually in this building right over here with our CFO and other people that were kind of involved in the inner workings in our marketing department, and found out, okay, there might be some funding available to try to tackle some of this, because some of our displays and we're starting to get a little outdated in LED and sound. And so I was like, okay, this might happen. And we had just finished up a control room project in COVID. So we to basically prepare ourselves for ESPN Plus. So we were already kind of a year operating in the ESPN Plus space with the control rooms that we spec'd over at Hilton. But once we kind of found out this could be a project to come to fruition, then it was, all right, we got to start somewhere. And so we basically decided, because of the scope of this project, that we should bring in a consultant to kind of help us navigate, because we're doing sound and LED at the same time. So, and obviously in multiple places, and then they needed to work together at the same time, just based on project schedules and timeline, how this all going to work. So 4 years in the making. So we hired WDHW to be our consultant. And after we put that bid out, and then we worked on the LED bid and then the sound bid. And so then those projects kind of work congruent between Jack Trice Stadium, Hilton, Cycle and Sports Complex, Bayer Hall, which is where our natatorium or swimming and diving pool is at, and then the League Recreation Center, which is indoor track, and it's also used as a campus uses it just as our number 2 rec center.
Okay, maybe this is a good spot for a tech call out here.
Yeah.
So you guys got 23 displays totaling 20,000 square feet at 6 locations. So in the Coliseum, you got the centerhung, which is 15 and a half feet high by 113 feet around, 2 underbelly displays, some fascia displays, corner ribbons, and tables. And then Jack Trice Stadium here, north end, 36 feet high by 157 feet wide, 13 millimeter display. And a couple ribbons, south end zone of 36 high by 79 wide. And like you said, multiple displays at those for Bayer Cycle and Sports Complex and the Lead Recreation Athletic Center.
Yep.
So quite a few different tools there for you to use and tie into and have to operate. Yep. So maybe dig into what was the plan for let's start here. We're at football. What was the plan for this north end zone to begin with?
Well, since I've been here, as long as I've been here, when you guys did the original displays in the north display in 2011, so we brought in all the engineering and we called it the big pick, where we basically the trusses were put in, and they put in the steel structure to be able to house that old board. We looked at it and went, gosh, and then the sound was built into it as well. So
it was on the sides.
On the sides.
It was
had screen
inside
behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we looked at that, and when we found out, okay, we're going to tackle this project, it's like, how do we make that baby be full width? And so that was kind of the goal to beginning, was to try to figure out how to maximize that space and make it, sing as much as possible. So that's kind of the premise of getting this all started. And then obviously this was done in 2016, I believe. Sometimes the dates all run together as far as we put the south end zone in at that time and then put the south structure in. And so then that was replaced. But yeah.
And it was always kind of keep the, I don't know, call them pillars or the things on the sides to hold it up, right? Because I feel like it's the iconic part about Iowa State, like things that set certain boards aside from other stadiums and arenas. Like when you see that, like even if the board was turned off, you saw the structure, you knew it was Iowa State. Was that kind of always that's the thought of everyone's, like, we need to keep that kind of structure in there?
All the thought that went into the engineering, and I wasn't as involved in much in it then, other than taking a time lapse of it, we installed it. But just the logistics of getting those cranes on the field and then synchronization. There's a video out on YouTube from the time lapse we took back in 2011 or 2012 or whenever that was that showed it all go together. It's really amazing feat of engineering. So
Nice.
It's big.
It's big. It's big.
And then maybe hopping into the Coliseum, the center hung there and the ribbons, the idea for the continuous center hung, where did that one kind of fit in?
So we have a big group that helped a lot. Hilton was, I think, actually a big emphasis to start off, honestly, just as much as anything else, because it was going to be such a drastic change from what we had. And myself, Justin, Austin, Tyler, and then one of our marketing directors, also Nathan Terry, was a big part of that. And a lot of how we landed on that was just research. We were taking pictures and examples of all the other displays out there, especially all the ones that Dak did. And just as a group, we kind of coalesced around the idea of just, what if we just had a continuous face, right? There's all these other ideas, fixed signage or negative space. You could put logos and things. And we all thought the biggest impact or the biggest change that if we're going to make this different would just to have that continuous LED the whole way around and then go from there. So it was a big change. I think overall it's been a pretty good reaction to it, but I like it a lot. I think there's still a lot of potential. We've only had 1 year under our belt. Right? You kind of learn a lot of mistakes right away too and figure out what it can do. But yeah, that was a big group decision on that one.
Yeah, and a shout out to administrators because they kind of let us be creative and do that research and kind of present, like, this is what as a group we think is the best option. I think everybody would agree that we did a really good job and hit a home run with how that looks and functions.
Yeah, and that's kind of when we met up with you guys first yesterday, go in there and see that, and it looked amazing, even just the seamlessness around it. And then it's kind of a joke. I don't know if do you call it underbelly displays? That's always a term that we call it. People wish there was another thing to call it, but no one comes up with it.
We call it the belly board.
The belly board?
Yeah, we just call it belly boards.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. There are people that text me, go, how big is that compared to my TV? Like, 'cause it's one of those things where you don't realize how big it is until you like see it in paper. Oh yeah, it's a 6.5 by 11.5. Like, it's a big TV. It's not just a TV, that 85-inch TV you'd put in your living room. You know? So
as soon as you lower that whole structure to the ground, people get such a big. Like, I took a picture of myself, I think, next to it during the install to give people an idea.
Because scope kind
of. It's as tall as 10 of you. Like, that's what it feels like. It's crazy.
Yeah. We even took a picture yesterday in the lead center, and Dylan, our videographer, was walking up close to the display, and Matt took a picture and he said, I got Dylan in there for scale, because you can see how big those displays actually are. So maybe talk about the idea or size going into some of those other facilities like the lead center.
Well, lead, it's kind of an interesting building because it's, like I said, it's a rec center, but we, we're a great track and cross country program and take pride in hosting indoor meets. And so that was kind of, and our athletics director, Jane Pollard, comes from a running background from when he competed as a student athlete, and just as our track programs have evolved, because of a strong track and cross country tradition here. And so it was just to make that space, ahead of the list in a lot of places and venues to have a board. So when somebody wants to come in, whether we're using it for a Big 12 championship event or we're using it for if high school events want to come in and try to run it, or just anything that can serve for the community, it's there. And we put some thought into it, and it turned out really well.
Multi-use.
So. All right, so then when multiple facilities like this and so many new displays going on, I mean, obviously control is a big deal of all these things going on. How did you handle the control aspect of all these projects too? Was all that kind of in one big room? Was there a little bit at each facility, or how was that handled? Well,
the original control room was built over in Hilton, and so as we started that project, which prior to the LED and sound projects, we made the decision to keep it over at Hilton just because 90% of the events, for the most part, that we do is in that venue. Okay. And so we built centralized control rooms. We have two of them. One kind of functions as our primary broadcast control room for ESPN Plus broadcast, and then our other one functions for video board. And so every venue is connected except for buyer and lead. So those currently are just run independently for whatever's needed out there. And if like a lead, for example, if they do a meet, then we usually bring in a package or a truck comes in and we'll help do things for the board or for a broadcast. And so I'll kind of run point on the logistics for that. And that happens maybe once a year, once every other year, not a lot, but for the most part, everything is centralized. And I don't know if you got anything you want to add to.
No, it's 95% of our productions between Hilton and Jack Trice take place in Hilton and Jack Trice, I should say. Yeah. And so the majority of these two are definitely synced together and all on the same server. But we do have the ability, obviously, lead, buyer, and everything out at the Cyclone Sports Complex to run independently too, because especially at soccer and softball, some of those can happen while we're doing events here. So for those two to be able to run independently was kind of key to some of it too. But yeah.
And we saw you in the control room the other day, and you were kind of tapping on your phone and adjusting some things. Are you running a lot of things in there through a show control system, or what's that system like on game day for you?
Yep, we have a show control system for it. So we have a show control server, and then we have 4 show control user stations that we use. One here at Jack Trice. There's 2 stations at Hilton. I have an auxiliary one at my desk. But we run everything through the show control system. Everything is scripted through there. A little bit of ROS talk to go back and forth between a few of our switchers and other things. But then, we put some remote software on there because the ability for us to go in and hit some of that stuff when not in venue or, recruiting weekends. And there's been a lot extra that's been really key. It's awesome. And it's pretty easy once you get used to it, right? And same thing with everything being synced. You can open up one show control workspace and script anything between here and Hilton.
Yeah. Okay. I've always heard people use that a lot, the remote one too, if they're testing out content, right? Especially if they're in a control room where you can't see the display. So you could literally walk around here and check them all to make sure they all fit and kind of stuff like that. But
yeah, it's awesome.
And maybe even with the control and the wider display, is that something that kind of went into the thought of what you're going to put on the display in those extra sections, and maybe even how you trigger some of that content?
Yeah, that was a lot of thought, especially with Hilton being so drastically different. There was a lot of thought and back and forth on how to do that. Here at Jack Trice was its own beast, just because, again, everything was so drastically different. We worked internally with ourselves in our marketing department, as well as we went back to DAC for some ideas. There's a lot of places that a lot of us have been, but obviously everyone on the Daktronics team has seen every other venue you've ever been on. So we were always looking for some ideas and help, and just ultimately we kind of landed on the layouts we landed on to both maximize live video space, but to also give stats and score their due process, as well as our advertisers. Part of the hard part with that was just a lot of extra space. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The cool thing there is we got a lot of extra space for stats that we've never had before. Especially here at football, we only had 3 stats on our board, right, at any given time outside of the score and the logos. And now you have an entire right wing here where we can put 7-8 stat columns, out of town scores, the GIP, the drive summary. It's just a lot of extra space, player stats. And
it's been a huge adjustment too, because our content team is all intertwined with our department, and so some of the content we do create for each of these displays is different. And so even though we were involved in the whole project together, it's still educating them this is a little bit different than what it was in the past. And so that's been a little bit of a learning curve. But I think now that we're 3 games in, we're about there. So.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's the feedback been like? Maybe even thinking about the first football game when this was used with the layouts and everything, kind of I'm probably nerves going up to it, right? Obviously the adrenaline we talked about earlier, but maybe just run through what was that first game like when you had everything going up, and what was the crowd's reaction?
From what I've heard, I think it's generally positive. Again, I'm very happy with it. There was a lot of bugs that first game to work out a little bit that you don't know until the game day, right? Just on us, on the user, trying to make sure we get from A to B accurately and the way we wanted to. I've heard a lot of good feedback from it. It's one of those, it looks cool in both. When you're in your game mode and you've got your GIP and everything up, that it sings so much more when you have those moments where you go to that, we call it full screen, right? Just big live video is so cinematic, and things like our intro videos and our hype videos that our football team creates, I think looked awesome up there. I feel like it's a much bigger impact.
Well, and we knew we'd make mistakes. I think the goal was, if the mistakes we make or we're the only ones that really notice them, that's probably a win. And I think we accomplished that. Now, like I said, we're 3 games in. I think everybody just has great understanding and feels really good about where we've at. We have nothing but positive feedback from everyone. So
yeah, because the control room is at the Coliseum, right? But you mentioned you have some operators you have here, are you two both here then on a game day, or kind of where do you two kind of operate? Are you floating around between different places, or are you at the stadium or in the control room?
I'm actually over in my office, which has 3 different TVs that I basically can see every screen from us, from TV, from pretty much anything that anybody would have a question about. I sit there and just kind of audit what's going on, take notes, and just so if anybody has a question, they can text me, hey, have you seen this? Or it's just kind of an eye in the sky type thing. And then you're over here.
I'm over here up in the top of our production booth up here, along with our PA announcer, and then 2 of our other marketing directors, Mary Pink and Nathan Terry, are up there with our audio operators. So like the 4 main of us are here with eyes on the field, kind of calling the overall shots. And then our other director, Justin Wolber, is back at the control room directing the main show. And then our engineer, Austin Minahan, is bouncing kind of everywhere. So he's the back forth, just fixing things. He checks things out, making sure they work how a lot of it that we planned. And
yeah, he's been on our staff since he was a student. He would know what year. I think he started maybe in 08 or 09. And he's kind of our resident engineer, but he's also our multi-facility AV guy as well, which as we added more facilities with LED.
It's good to have that.
And there is not a busier guy on game day than that guy, because he's obviously helping us with what we need internally for the board show and then sound, but also then, hey man, if there's a TV out in here or somebody's got a question in a suite where this isn't working. So I mean, he gets pulled in a lot of different directions on game day, and there isn't a better guy to help us out, because he's a good dude. There's only so many superlatives that you can say, because he's just that kind of guy. So.
It's another one of those shows. Like we got 5 people on our live productions. None of us could do anything we do without each other. It's just, we rely. So everyone's got a different strength, and it's really good synergy.
I think you mentioned he was helping with some of those dynamic stat graphics that you were making, I believe, in Camino. Is that right?
So
that was who you were talking. Okay. Okay.
So he's someone who I think, I don't want to speak fully for him, but I think he started in graphic pub and design.
And he has a degree in graphic design.
And so he does really well on the graphics side of things. And he's been someone as soon as we did this project, we knew we would want the Camino editor station, because we knew we're the type that, I'm a former computer science guy too myself, that we like to dig projects apart and kind of make them ourselves. And he is someone who understands that software better than anyone on our staff. And he's someone who, especially if I don't have time, I'll just give him an idea and he'll make it sing.
Okay.
And so on the Camino side of it, we use the Daktronics team to help us build our initial Camino template out. And from there, we kind of dissected a few of the timelines ourselves. And he is someone who has taken that and just flown with it. And he has we probably have made 10 to 12 different timelines now out of the original DAC project that I'm super happy with. But again, without that initial build out, probably would have struggled a little bit. But the graphics that you see in like the overall layout, he's the reason it kind of looks the way it does now, in concert with the Daktronics team building it out. And
yeah.
Nice.
I was going to say, it's you mentioned earlier too about having more space for stats and stuff like that. And then you saying you knew you wanted a Camino editor. Was that kind of, you always knew about that? And then I'm saying it's making the use of the space, right? Instead of just having normal things on there. But like, why did you always know you needed the Camino editor for it? Is it the animations between stats, or kind of what parts do you like about it?
Our staff specifically too, we tinker a lot, right?
Yeah.
We like control, and knowing that once we got it, that it, some programs can be hard and there's a learning curve with it, but it was something that we wanted that undertaking to be able to just edit something on the fly, and knowing that we could learn what's in front of us. And we don't just want to get something to start the season and just be happy with it. So part of having the editor was just knowing, hey, let's try ABC instead of just waiting for the season to be done and starting over right the next year and making all your adjustments. We knew we wanted that editor just because we wanted to be able to just take things under our control and be able to try to do more with it too. Challenge ourselves.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I think Austin started as a student and kind of came up from there.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of students helping with the game day production, like when you have people running the replay and the switchers and pulling cables and stuff?
And the entire operation between production and content creative and everything we do. I've lost track of how many we have. Like I meet all of them. We do a staff kickoff meeting, but after that, like it's grown to the point where I can't put every name with every face. And so you can probably talk more than how many we use day to day on game day.
Yeah,
it's grown every year.
It has, and we kind of split our students up. We have all of our live production students. Some are geared more under Jared with doing our ESPN Plus productions. Some are geared more under me and Justin doing more of the video board productions. But all of those crews are one together, right? And we probably have 20 to 30 students this year, which small by some universities measures, large by some. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to definitely reach out more and more. We're trying to be a good partner with the journalism school here, and as more and more as this stuff is bled into the high school space, we want those kids coming in here, the ones especially that have experience with show control and the Daktronics stuff, and to use them more. We definitely want to give that experience. But I mean, our football game day, our whole control room is all all student run in most of our other sports as well. We do still have a mix of some really awesome freelancers in the area, but yeah.
The majority of our full-time staff graduated from Iowa State, and so the university and the J School have started a sports media program and major at Iowa State. So that's slowly starting to get traction. I think it's maybe year 2, and so they're starting to kind of build some connections there and make that be a viable opportunity for students to get classroom curriculum experience as well, and then can kind of come over to us and have some experience.
That's what's kind of.
Sorry, he mentions the high school experience and maybe even knowing a little bit of that coming to you. Do you have students right now that have had experience already?
We've had 1 or 2 in the past. This year, my current crop didn't have much, but we do have a few in the past that have come in that knew. Like if I said, "Hey, are you familiar with?" We always introduce all the positions. You familiar with show control? And I've had a few that did it at their high school. And
awesome.
Very helpful off the bat to have someone that I don't have to give the full rundown on something for, but we're always trying to find more that have that experience.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think we were talking to you, Tyler, yesterday when you were showing us around too, is we've been interviewing a lot of high schools lately too that have video boards, and them talking about how it's helped them when they graduate going to a college and they got a leg up, saying they knew they had show control experience, or they just even knew what went on in a control room. They knew what a grip was or instant replay, and like.
Yeah, you come in and you can use a few of those key terms, like, "Oh yeah, you're hired."
Yeah.
There's really no other questions you need to ask. Like, do they check the box character standpoint? Yes, they obviously know a little bit about this because they did it in high school, and let's go.
Yeah, and when it's growing too, is it just kind of? I mean, as you get more and more displays and stuff, there's more and more to do. But is it? I don't know. At high school, I'm just thinking when they start out, they always say the first year they have it, not many kids, but then all of a sudden they start telling their friends like, "Hey, I made graphics," or they tell their parents, right, like, "I made that on the board right there," and there's a sense of like pride of what they're doing and working on. Is that kind of what happens too with you guys? Is like you mentioned there's a lot of students now. Is there kind of let's say, is it a hot ticket, but is it kind of like a buzzworthy thing where people do get, really take pride in their work, and then it just keeps, I don't know, going after that?
I think overall that is the good vibe of it. You can quickly tell the students who want to be here and want to learn and want to make an impact and want to take a pride in it. And even just, again, entering my 7th season, the ones we had year 1 versus now, we're getting a lot more that are way more interested in making an impact and that do take pride in it. There's a lot, instead of just, I've had a job in the past where one of my best replay operators was a physics major, right? It was someone he really liked it, but he's like, "I'm not doing this forever." Whereas here we're getting a lot more students now that they want to work in sports. They want to be good at it. They want to learn. They want to graduate and get a job in sports. It's And
we say you're gonna get out of this what you put into it. That's kind of what I was taught as when I came up into this. And so if you want to work your tail off and you have the opportunity here to try different things once you prove that you can be trusted and learn.
So it can be a career path for some of those students that are coming through working for you, because you said you've hired multiple, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool to know they're seeing it and putting in to what they want and getting something.
That's
from
what
it.
we hear a lot. Is a lot of kids didn't know that was a career path, right? And it's like, you can
absolutely.
do this now at another college or somewhere else. You can be a freelancer. You can do it in the pros. There's a lot of different areas you can go with the experience you get from running a video board or ESPN Plus type stuff. Or
we got a lot of cool stories about students that come in as freshmen and kind of learn behind the scenes of how it works, and then we've got a great relationship with the iCubs down in Des Moines, and so a student will do a summer internship with them and kind of continue to evolve in that space, and then they come back around the other side in the fall and they've developed more skills, and so it's kind of been this nice symbiotic relationship between us and them that's allowed us to share a lot of the same students, and then some of the students then walk out of that and can get full-time jobs in the market doing some things too.
Nice. So we've gone through all of that. You've gone through the display installations at multiple venues. You've had a couple games and a first season maybe under your belt. Do you have new ideas that you haven't unveiled yet, or kind of what's next for the content on the display? You don't have to give away any secrets.
No, there's no secrets. More it's like it's been going on the last 4 years nonstop. It's like, we take a bit to breathe a little bit.
Nope.
No. I don't know. I guess we're in a good spot. But I think that at some point we're gonna, as ESPN gets more involved in our broadcast and they want to do linear in the school control room project, there's probably gonna come a day where we need to upgrade our control rooms. They're 5-6 years old now, and they'll get to a point where we'll have to start making some investments if we want to continue to do better in that space and potentially take on linear broadcast some days, because there are schools in our league that do that and kind of modeling what the SEC and ACC have done, and that day will come. We're not there yet, but it certainly is coming. So.
And just kind of how we use our displays too. There's probably a lot in my head that I get ideas now and then on what we can do different. It's probably one of those that, again, you get a season under your belt, then you really think through it. But also the way I think our crew kind of operates too is we tend to get an idea, we try to run with it by the next game too.
Awesome.
And that's something that's happened with, something small, like we call it requested stats. We had a small zone on the bottom left wing where we were doing some player stats here and there. And by game 2, had an idea of how I kind of wanted that to look different and tossed it out there. And a day later, Austin had it done, and he had made it. We got some cutouts from our football creatives that was a different layout than what we had initially used to make that look a lot different. It was just one of those that, why wait, right? Now, overall on how we might do hype videos, live videos, open videos at Hilton could probably change over time, but it's one of those, again, until we had this time to breathe and get it under our belt.
Well, and the fun part, like at Hilton, we've used the center hung. We've lowered it for now, maybe 4 or 5 sport open videos.
Yeah.
So our men's basketball team, we're shooting our open video next week where we'll lower the center hung, put some content on it, put some stage decking up just so we can't get it all the way to floor.
Yeah, I've seen that done. That's cool.
Football did their open video, same sort of profile, and so it's been a great opportunity to use something new, and of course the athletes like it because most people don't see the center hung lowered very often.
No.
So if you've never seen it before and actually see the scope of how big it is, I think it really puts it in perspective. So that's been a fun use for the content team.
There's a college we went to, and I'm struggling to remember the name, but they talked about they bring it down too for media days and people being in front of it. But then it was either the president or the athletic director was doing like a meeting with a bunch of people, and they wanted it brought down to use as like for presentations and stuff. Sure. And when there was like a different thing, they're not used to like corporate presentations being done using a center hung, but they said, it's the nicest video board we have in all campus. Why would I not use this when I'm talking to you? So that was like a unique one I've heard before.
Yeah, we've heard that about 3 different campuses we've talked to have done that. They've lowered
corporate
it
presentations. Like never would have thought of that one.
Or even for a class. They've hosted a class with it as the background. So it's
our
different
uses. A year ago, I think he used it for his 80 reception. He brings in a lot of our donors to come in and just kind of give a state of the nation type thing. So he lowered it, and we
used
presentation.
That for
yeah,
that's awesome.
So there's always inventing different ways to use something like that because it is the nicest display probably. I mean, I'll go anywhere in the state probably.
Yeah. And we always ask everybody this: do you have any advice for somebody that's going through a display refresh, or they're looking to bring something in? Maybe it's unique for you guys with multiple different venues, but any advice for what to do heading into that process or a mindset to have?
Oh boy, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, it's almost like, is there something that you ran into that you wish you would have known prior to, even like?
Try to get more sleep.
Yeah, it's like you're like almost a new dad here. Like, get sleep while you can, Dylan.
It's hard because a lot of it too going into this, it's discovery is probably one of the hardest parts, I'd say too.
Yeah.
Getting schematics, drawings of everything you have existing, power, fiber, because a lot of that takes some time too.
Yeah,
for one building, it probably is, right?
Like, because we did the sound project with Diversified at the same time in Hilton as we did the LEDs with you all. It's just making those connections on campus with key people that when you need an answer to a question, because we're trying to keep this on a timeline, especially in Hilton. Like never does the arena go offline for that amount of time at once, and so it's how do we make sure that we're buttoned up with timelines and that we are getting the answers we need in a timely fashion and making those connections and being responsible for the timeline and all of that. And I would say making all of those connections to people that are not so much in our little bubble, but as a campus and university as a whole.
Yeah.
So because it was a big project.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, Phil, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us today and share everything you got going on at Iowa State. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.